organizational plan that is, I think, every 3 or 4 years it's revised and so on. And I'm asking that in the context of a work study of 2019, which I actually want to ask you whether you knew about it. It was attached to Sabia's affidavit, and then more recently in Minister Mkhwanazi's affidavit, he attached a 2024 work study, which one can see from the various signatures of some senior officials. You know that sequence until at the end the National Commissioner signs off on it. Whether you were aware of that work study, because he relies on the 2024 to demonstrate that the PKTT was going to be disestablished or dismantled.
Well, you could be privy, but it depends on the National Commissioner. There is no obligation that they come and show you, but because is organogram of the organization that you finally politically had. The National Commissioner would show that this is what we have, deputy, the units, the divisions, and all that kind of stuff. But it remains his or her territory on that one. So if as it develops, can show you, but at a certain given point when it passes, he or she can pass it without your concurrence or disagreement.
So it's a purely operational matter.
Exactly.
And when it is shared with you, they would come and say, Minister, this has now been reorganized and this is now what the structure looks like. But it's not to consult, to ask you for your input.
It's not for consultation, it's just showing you, it's prerogative of the...
Now, I just want to ask you, there's, because in this work study, there's an which Minister Mkhwanazi relies on to justify this directive of 31 December, amongst others. We see that there's a number of, by way of introduction, that these task teams that I'm going to mention, some of them, are criticized because they're out of control, their members spend a lot of money, and they're not operating within the confines of the budget and so on. And the teams that are mentioned, the foreign vehicle team, the multiple trio task team, the narcotics team, the kidnap and ransom team, the extortion team, and then there's the PKTT is not specifically mentioned, but there's reference to a political murders team, and there's about 10 or 12 different task teams. Now, this is a document that was signed off actually eventually in 2025 by the National Commissioner. But by the time you vacated office as minister, these task teams, it appears, were still in operation.
Yes, they were, but most interestingly, why then December 31st you cancel one when they're all in the same line of problem? So why do you cancel one?
Well, that's why I mentioned it to you. On what basis, without any reasons, do you single out one of these task teams?
So there are almost 10 there.
Yeah, and I know we're under time pressure, but if you look at the organogram, that's one of the reasons that Minister Mkhwanazi gives, because you won't see them listed in the organogram.
But why do you cancel one when there are 10?
Yeah. And to your knowledge, the other 9 or 10 or 12, are they still in operation? to your knowledge?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if those task teams are there. But it would have been nice if the very first letter would have said, deal with all this and count 10. Why one?
Yeah. Because it seems to me, that these are dedicated, multidisciplinary task teams, for the very reason that that particular area where crime is being committed has been identified for special attention. Would that be the case? Like extortion, murder, kidnapping?
There will never be time, I see, where there is no task team established. For instance, in South Africa, kidnapping is a new thing. Extortion is a new thing. So you could not have had that thing in the organogram because extortion is very new. It started here in Cape Town a few years ago. Kidnapping, it came from Mozambique a few years ago and all that. And unfortunately, both of them, they need a lot of skill and dedicated people and machinery. For instance, kidnapping needs a lot of equipment of doing different things on it. And those equipment will take money to be there and all that. They are new things, they are specialized, so they'll have to put money on it. There will be other things, some other time that was not part of it that will have to be policed. That is not in the organogram, but we'll have to put them as a task team in response. And then some of them, those task team will have to end because maybe that problem has ended. So it's going to be a running target, this thing of task team, but permanently there as coming and going. But the question for me still stands that if there are these 10 task teams, whether exist or not, why on that particular day cancel one?
It seems to me that the National Commissioner, presumably in consultation with his deputy commissioners for the very different sections like policing and so on, can establish a task team at any time for a specific purpose.
For instance, extortion and I think those are the youngest. Extortion and the kidnapping team are the youngest to respond to the new crime in the market, because those are two new crimes in the market.
Doesn't have to be on the organogram.
No. Otherwise, if you wait for organogram, that takes about 3 to 5 years.
Yeah.
The criminals will be laughing all the way to the bank, waiting for organogram.
Yeah.
And ask people, why don't you arrest? No, organogram is coming.
So although the PKTT was established to serve a particular purpose, it was a task team. This team continued to exist and to be funded from the police budget, and according to your evidence, it's still in existence.
Well, I don't know if it was funded from the police alone. I don't know if prosecutors that are dedicated, they were paid by the police. I don't know. Maybe justice will help us one day, that those dedicated prosecutors, for instance, there will have to be an extra money for special courts. There will be an extra money for magistrates and prosecutors that go there a little bit out of their work. So I would have loved to know who pays for those. But this money we talk about is paying for one component, and that component is the police.
And that is why you had the interministerial committee.
That is why I'm there.
Yeah.
Yeah, with other ministers, so that they look after their specific activities in their departments.
Now, I would have thought, or most people would have thought, that the establishment of the Independent Directorate Against Corruption was welcomed. But from the evidence of Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, and it also appears to be the case from your evidence, that there seems to be let me put it neutrally, some kind of issues against IDEC, especially in the wake of their arrest of Lieutenant General Khumalo. What exactly is your complaint about IDEC?
No, I would not complain about the work of the IDEC, but I can't have a structure, such a powerful structure, that has no oversight. That would be my main complaint. That up to this point, I don't know any form of oversight, like the iPad with the police, like the judge with the Hawks. So otherwise, you'll find the people running amok without anybody checking them and telling them to fall in line.
But you're not able to comment on the allegation that for some reason or other, Lieutenant General Khumalo was, you know, of course, he was arrested and he appeared in court.
Well, that's a story that is on the air. The Honorable Member Ngola yesterday said he will have to find the letter. But that's a story I know, that the letter was written from the office of the minister to deal with this matter. If that is the case, it's absolutely out of order. If it could be established, I think is a matter that will have to be corrected and take a very serious corrective measures on it. That the office of the minister cannot write the law enforcement and enforcing agency to say do it. It can't be.
Then just a last aspect relating to the terms of reference of this honourable committee to make recommendations to Parliament on possible reforms and remedial measures, because it's quite clear that there are a number of problems, and I think you've addressed them very well. But some people may be concerned because the Parliament will also have to adopt an approach, and we've got a constitution. It must be done in accordance with the constitution, must be constitutionally compliant. But a number of people would be concerned about your approach to policing. We've heard you, I don't want to repeat the words here in this august chamber, but it appears to be an approach where, you know, you've just got to attack the criminals and shoot them, and you yourself have mentioned you're concerned about the right to bail. General Mkhwanazi, who seems to share this approach, he complains about the trade unions getting people off their disciplinary hearings. He complains about the media using allegedly confidential or information and putting it in the papers. And you also seem to have a problem with our system of parole.
There was a famous statement here that was associated with me, shoot to kill.
Yes.
So even on the road, when the young people see me, they'll say, shoot to kill. I have made a challenge, and I want to repeat here. Show me where Cele says so. Either in a print form or electronic. I've never uttered that statement, that shoot to kill.
Well, thankfully, I didn't repeat it, yeah.
Yeah. It has been interpreted from my stance to say police cannot die with the guns in their hands. And I stand by that. SC, there are two ways of policing in South Africa. You police the masses that have a right to complain, have a right to march and all that kind of stuff. And you cannot use force to those people. That's why you train POP, public order policing, to go and deal with those people that are legitimately complaining about those things. There are those that they plan to eliminate whoever on their way as they go to do their work. Those people like cash in transit. Therefore, that's why you develop your NIU, your TROT, your Special Task Force. So the policing will be forever to approach what is a danger in front of you is an ordinary South Africans demanding the rights that they should have, and you police them as such. Or are the criminals that they want to take over the systems and make life difficult for everybody? So I always look at the tennis players. The harder you hit, the harder you return. That's how you play the tennis.
No, sometimes you play drop shot.
That's how you play
And
the
you
tennis.
just play it
So
over the net.
we are not going to take the POP and give them rubber bullets and give them water tanks and say there is cash ice there. Rush, here are the rubber bullets. We're not going to do that. Again, we're not going to take a special task force and say, look, there are people complaining about electricity and water there. Take your life, ammunition. So there'll be always these categories, and police must be enabled to respond accordingly.
So a flexible approach depending on the nature of the threat or the crime being committed. If you're dealing with armed robbers intent on committing a heist, then you deal with them accordingly.
I love my
You don't send in public order police.
I love my term accordingly.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, General. And again, thank you for your cooperation. And you're the one witness that we interviewed. We didn't see any lawyers in the room. And so thank you very much. And your evidence has been extremely helpful to inform our terms of reference. Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chair, committee members.
Okay. Thank you so much, SC and your team. Thank you so much, General, for the time that you have created to be with us here. And I want to take the opportunity and thank honorable members. Honorable Skosana, I see your hand is up.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you to the witness, General Minister. He complained earlier, Chair, to say, I'm the one who brought him here. It's not true. It's so I just want to say to you, nothing personal. I know he was angry a bit, that perhaps, as he said yesterday, that I'm the one who called him here. It's our work, Minister. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you to you, Chair.
Yeah.
Thanks myself. No, I did not call the lawyers because I thought things that have to do with the truth and only truth. It would be worse to call Nomvaba to be my lawyer. It would be really worse then. Having said so, I did not get the opportunity, but I'm jealous. There was a big debate here about the devolution of powers. I want to repeat, I felt sorry that you put the operative to the political debate. Maybe it can be debated at the next time, but it was unfair, very unfair, to put the police officer to debate the law. Police officers don't debate the law, they enforce the law. They don't debate it, they don't develop it, they enforce it. So I would say so. Thank you.
Look, honorable members, we were at a point where we were thanking all of you for your participation in this week's proceedings. To our staff that coordinates our activities and keep the public informed about the work that we do here. We want to thank you so much. And I see honorable members also bring their staff from their respective parties. We also want to thank them for the support that they give you. We want to thank you so much for that. We are resuming next week, Tuesday. The starting time will be 11 o'clock. Yeah, it will be 11 o'clock on Tuesday. Yeah, you won't be here in those. So I always get disappointed when we come to the end of the meetings, and there is nothing I can do. Even if I want to continue with the meeting, there is nobody raising a hand. I don't have any choice but to call off the
Point of
meeting.
order, Chair.
The meeting.
Our guest is asking a question,
the
Chair. You must answer that question,
The meeting
Chair.
stand adjourned.
But Chair, there's a question from our guest, Chair.
We will meet next week, Tuesday at 11 o'clock. Thank you so much.
Chair, uthi ndo sinenkinga ekhaya yini? Makhanda.